Godzilla vs. Mothra is one of those films which pretty much every Godzilla fan at some point will say, it's my favourite one, and it's one of my favourite ones. I know it's a little bit cliche to say, but it is really fun to watch. It is just such a fun movie, like, through and through. There's no real issue as far as I'm concerned. It's basically more of a Mothra sequel than an actual Godzilla film, but I'm fine with that. As you saw in my review of Mothra, I absolutely love her, so let's just get straight into this. So for the movie's plot, if you've seen Mothra, you've already seen the plot of this film. It's essentially the same. One of the eggs this time washes up on the shore because there's a hurricane of some variety, and then it gets sold. Once again, we get a lot of capitalism stuff for the themes. It's pretty much exactly the same plot, and it's not very original, I do have to say that. It can be quite irritating at times, but it's definitely not boring. I mean, in this movie, Godzilla doesn't even appear until about halfway in, but you don't miss out on his presence much. You know there's something building up. You can feel it throughout the entire first half of the movie until Godzilla arrives, and it is definitely worth that wait, and it's done so well you hardly even feel like you're actually waiting. It's great to see, and like I said, the themes, it's just the same as you've seen before. It's a little bit worse, I will say that. It's not as great as it is in Mothra, because it's been done both with that film and with King Kong vs. Godzilla now, so it is a bit of a downer, but for what there is, it's still a lot of fun. Now, for the characters in this movie, it's basically the same style of characters that are in Mothra. Like, it literally has the exact same team, just played by different actors. It's quite disappointing at times, but other times you can understand why they did it, because it worked so well with Mothra. It's not a shock that they decided to do it again. The acting in it is good, I will state that. It's probably actually better at times than Mothra, sometimes worse. This time, I don't think there are any characters that can drag it down with exposition, which is really fun to see, but it's once again the two journalists. One of them's a photographer, there's a scientist guy, there's another journalistic kind of guy who follows them around, there's a human antagonist who has his own little lackeys, there's the Shelby Jin, of course, who are always great, but it's just the exact same characters done once again, which is disappointing, but at least it's not boring or bad. That's as much as I can kind of say. When it comes to the directing and cinematography, it's once again kind of reverting back. It's not very good, I'll openly state. It's not bad, not even slightly bad by a long shot, but it's kind of back to the static cameras. There's only a couple of big shots in the movie, and the fight scene itself is a little bit too claustrophobic at times. It is quite a letdown, I will state that. It is very disappointing to see, especially with how the work seemed to keep getting better and better. Godzilla vs. Kong cinematography, for instance, was a lot of fun. It wasn't great, but it was so much fun. This one seems a lot more toned back. The tone of this movie is quite dark, and it follows behind King Kong vs. Godzilla, one of the most light-hearted, cheesy films in the franchise, and Mothra, which is literally a family-friendly fantasy movie. Why they decided to go down this route, I don't know, but for what it is, it's still at least decent. Like I said, not bad, just kinda average more than anything. The sets, on the other hand, look absolutely awesome. Like, I love a lot about this movie, but the sets, oh my god, yes. The Happy Enterprises building looks really fun. Like, it looks like an actual building. It was all done by studio, but it looks like it could be any kind of stereotypical office building, and that's good to me, because it's very bright, it's very colourful. Maybe stereotypical wasn't the best word. It's much more light, big, very open kind of businessy stuff, like the kind of shit you'd see in Wolf of Wall Street, which is really good. Like, it's so damn good. And the miniatures for this, for the actual locations where Godzilla, Mothra and the Larvae twins are, wow, once again, just as good as King Kong vs. Godzilla. It's really great how much these sets have just gotten better and better as we progress through this. Even Varans, as bad as they were, weren't the worst things I've ever seen, and it's so much fun to see how great these still are. About 8 movies in, it's awesome. Quick shout out to the set of Infant Island, which is now like atomically blasted and looks dead. Oh my god, it's so depressing, but it's done so well. You can see how this has changed between the 3 years of Mothra compared to this film. When it comes to special effects of a movie, it's once again outstanding, and I have no complaints apart from, once again, the blue screen, and it's weirdly used this time. They use it for some Godzilla scenes. It's definitely a blue screen or a green screen or something of that kind of variety, because he was definitely superimposed in post-production, and I really don't understand why, because it's done so well, and I don't remember it being used ever again, at least up until the Heisei period. Why they decide to do it with this movie, I will never understand, because it does damage it quite a lot. It looks really naff at times, and especially if you consider that compared to the other Godzilla movies so far, there's no need for it, and I'm very glad that I at least don't remember it being used again until the Heisei era. But like I said, miniature's great, Mothra's egg great, all that kind of stuff, still outstanding. It's just a blue screen again. Stop using it. Stop. So, yeah boy, Akira Ifukube is back, and this score is his best, in my opinion. It uses a lot of the stuff from King Kong vs. Godzilla, which obviously I couldn't hear, and even though this is the Americanized version, Godzilla vs. The Thing, it does still use all that soundtrack, and it's so good. It is his best work since the original Godzilla. Mothra's theme is redone, much more beautiful. The Shobijin have a brand new song. Godzilla's theme is redone, but it still has a little bit of the original theme in there every now and again. I love this score, and it's so damn good. I have nothing else to say. It's awesome. Now, Godzilla's design in this movie is pretty similar to the last one, so there's literally no complaints to me. Same with Mothra, Mothra's larvae. All three of them look really good in this movie, so I can't complain because I love both Godzilla and Mothra, so it's so much fun. Also, just for fans, Skeleturtle is absolutely adorable. Now, technically speaking, compared to the other movies, there's not many fight scenes in this, but I'll explain why. The first one is essentially just Godzilla attacking a beach and a bunch of sand that he breaks out of. That's literally it. It's alright, it's nothing too special. But the second fight scene is about half an hour long. Now, the fight is basically split up into three different sections. The first bit is Godzilla versus the adult Mothra in her Imago form, and it's great, it's so much fun seeing them both use their abilities against each other, and neither of them initially getting the upper hand or any of that kind of stuff. It's great. Mothra then later on starts beating down on Godzilla, then Godzilla sadly defeats Mothra, and it's done so well. It's so much fun to watch. I know there's a lot of fans out there who don't like it for some reason. I love it. It's so much cheesy 1960s fun once again, and just seeing Mothra and Godzilla properly on screen together is good enough for me. The second part of it mostly revolves around Godzilla battling the military whilst the Shobijin try to hatch the egg. It's perfectly fine for what it is, but by this point we've seen it so many times before, it can get a bit boring. Now for the third part of the movie, it's Godzilla versus the two Mothra larvae. I've also seen a lot of fans complain against this, and I don't really agree with it. I think it is a lot of fun. Seeing the way that they sneak around, use their size, especially as an advantage against him, because by this point, Godzilla had gone up against Anguirus, who's pretty damn big, gone up against Kong, who's the same height as him, gone up against Mothra, who's a massive fucking moth, whilst the larvae are tiny compared to the rest of them, and it's so cool to see the way that he tries to figure out what to actually do in this fight, and especially with two of them overwhelming him, it's great. The use of the silk is awesome, bringing back a lot of stuff from the Mothra movie. I love it, it's a lot of fun, and overall the fight scenes in this are pretty great. I just wish there were more of them, and I think a lot of that does stem from the fact Godzilla's not in this movie that much. Overall though, I do love this movie. It's very clear why it's a fan favourite. There's so much fun to be had here. Just the simple fact that it's Godzilla versus Mothra. Two characters who later on will become best friends, become best frenemies, become friends again. It's a very confusing relationship, but it's just seeing them on screen together is really good. The actual characters obviously are great. The cast and all that kind of stuff, it's very average. I wish that they didn't just copy and paste them from Mothra, and there's a couple of little issues such as the directing style, the fact that the actual story itself is not very original and it's just Mothra again. But for the actual fight stuff, which is so much fun, for the actual style of the music especially, all that kind of stuff, I have to love this movie, and it is definitely my second favourite movie in the Showa era, with my first one being covered quite far in the future. But overall, I do give the Mothra vs Godzilla a 7.5 out of 10. It's so much fun. I can't fault it at all. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, please share to like and subscribe. Now, some interesting news. I'm going to be cutting out the Godzilla extended stuff for a while. I'm mostly going to be focusing on the actual Godzilla movies, all movies where Godzilla appears. So that means that the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, Ghidorah, Space Amoeba, all that kind of stuff has now been cut. I will go back to it eventually, I think, but for now I want to focus on something else, and I want to go down to doing just one video a week because I want to focus a lot on my university, and I didn't really think that through when I started this. But until then, if you head up here, then you can see a playlist of all my other Godzilla movies or Godzilla related movies. If you head down here, you'll see all my old Jackson review stuff. I'm really looking forward to next week when I do Ghidorah, but until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Bye!